All right. Good afternoon, VV Nation. Welcome to Trending Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. Woo! Everybody's happy but the market, right? Except the bulls. The bears, they're excited today. They're excited. I was a little bit of a bear today. I bought the 175 put on NVIDIA. That worked out for a little bit. Closed out for a slight gain this morning. Hope everyone is doing well. If you can hear me, if you can see me, put a VV in the comment section appropriately as we can take a look at the major indices here. Wolf says, hello from Denmark. So far, it's been a difficult, I think you mean year, possibly. Jake, hello. Jake, I love your enthusiasm. I love it. I love it. But see, the enthusiasm is not in the market right now. We had the primary wave up signal. So if you have access to the VectorVest software, looking for follow through today, not getting any much follow through. I even talked about that in the live stream yesterday. I wasn't too convinced that was going to be our blast off day, but we see the pressure. It's still on. All the major indices down 1% or higher. Well, except the Dow Jones. Look at that. Dow Jones holding its ground, or at least trying to here. NASDAQ leading the charge. Tech under pressure here, down about 2%. VectorVest composite about 1.3%. Not a good Thursday. Not a good Thursday. Has everyone been defensive, hopefully? I know the confirmed down signal has been given since February 5th. But the DEW down signal as well. That's why you have access to the software. For those that do not have access to the software, stop waiting. Stop waiting. Now, the only good news out there is that the BSR and the MTI, BSR is already down in the 0.2s. MTI, where's that now? 0.64. I did see BSR did get to 0.19 earlier this week here. So there is the potential for a blast off day. So we're keeping your eyes out for that. And if you're holding shorts, if you're holding contras right now, just keep that in mind. I am doing the special presentation this week that comes out tomorrow evening, and it will be on Contra ETFs. Now, tomorrow's video on Contra ETFs, I'm solely going to focus on just single leveraged or non-leveraged, single correlation. Just because, ramping up with leverage ETFs, with these MTI signal and BSR signal so low, the confirmed down signal, given, almost 2 months ago now, right? So, going out there with 2-3 times leverage, that doesn't seem like the best idea, right? But we're just trying to squeeze, potentially the last few bucks out of this downside trend. Hey, leverage may not be a bad idea. So look out for that video tomorrow evening. That'll be Contra ETFs. How cash 20%. Well, I'm glad I didn't fill, my YouTube portfolio here. Let's do an update. I don't think we've talked about these. We got Cousin Eddie here. Cousin Eddie, again, I've said it before. He is not diversified. He's all in the semiconductors. You can see here. He does own some AMD, by the way. He does still have some AMD. I did find out. I think he added a little bit to it. But yeah, otherwise you can see he's here. He was up quite a bit. Now holding about 1% to the upside. Glenn here, let's do this one here. These are the ones that I dollar cost averaged him into. He's down about 8% here. Ritzmas, so I started this before the year, but it just didn't trigger or activate. It doesn't trigger too often, but you could see down about 2% today, 10% since the beginning of this portfolio here. So we'll take a look. Again, I wanted to track this a little bit longer time frame to get the bigger picture. Because if it does well, I've heard really good things about it from customers. I throw some live money there. So as far as my live portfolio, the only thing holding still here is Netflix. Everything else is closed out, and which is fine because ultimately, I think at most, I had only deployed about 20% of my cash. We just weren't seeing the strength in the market, and I'm glad I did because looks like evened out here. Looks like some of them went up, came back down. Netflix, still holding Netflix. Hopefully Netflix will hold. I'm here at 83% here. My stop, the Genius is on. So where's my stop here? Hopefully it don't get stopped out here. Stop value 85.2 or 103. So yeah, it's got to be 85.2 right now. Yeah, right now we're at 93. So we got a little bit of a buffer there. That's okay. That's okay. And then for my buy and hold picks, again, Glenn started this a few years ago doing the buy and hold. That's why I wanted to keep the tradition going here. We're still holding a positive territory, man. We were looking so good here. I mean, we're up, 25? What is this here? 27%. Now we're at 5%. Looks like everything is starting to unwind, silver, gold. See, actually, look at the silver down 11%. Iron feeling the pressure, down 15%. Meta here down 16%. Molar down 17%. I talked about it yesterday. Meta broke that trend line. And actually, if you're holding Meta or if you're interested in Meta, let me drag this over real quick. So I talked about this yesterday quite a bit. Oh, bring it over. There we go. This trend line that it broke, I needed it to hold, right? And the reason why we talked about it yesterday is because there was a news story that came out, right? It had to do with essentially being addicted to apps, right? Meta and Google through YouTube were caught in the crosshairs with $3 million lawsuit, if I remember correctly. If anyone else remembers, I think it was 70% Meta had to pay. The other 30% of the lawsuit or the deal was Google because of YouTube. But look at the pressure here. Man, that's not good. Well, it's in my portfolio. It's buy and hold. I can't sell it. Me personally, I'm a big trend line person. So if it would have broke this trend line, that kind of would have been my nail in the coffin. Maybe I might have given it a couple candlesticks here, but not much more than that, especially once we surpass this prior swing low. And that's kind of what and you see, look at that fresh sell rating too. Oh man. Okay, got a new problem child of the portfolio here. MU got a sell signal today. We talked about that one as well. Man, that's why you've got the software here. Look at that. Sell signal on Micron. Was it at 355? And it looks like it might break this channel. Ooh, I did have this line here. I don't want to say it's got to go down here. That's the 260. Ugh. Market pressure. But I've also got a news story. Actually, it's very interesting that you mentioned Micron. We're going to get through the news stories real quick. Let's get through these. I got some good stuff I want to talk about here. But yeah, portfolios, feeling the pressure here. Now, this, my live portfolio, again, I'm still all in cash. So that is fine because, loading up, starting a fresh portfolio and bottom fishing, on the horizon, not a bad time to start opening up positions in a portfolio, by all means, right? But yes, actually, that might work out in my favor that I've waited this long. All right, because I probably would have opened them up in January, rolled over, whether it was gold, silver. I doubt I would have bought Petroleum. Speaking of Petroleum, look at it. It's dominating the top RT industries. Fiber optics, ooh, down 10% today. Be careful if you're in fiber optics. Be careful if you're in anything, generally speaking, right? Petroleum, that's it. We've taken a look at the sector chart quite a bit. It's in an ascending channel. So as long as the sector stays in that ascending channel, Now, obviously, individual stock volatility, I would take into consideration. But as long as the sector itself stays in that channel, the trade is in effect, right? If it breaks out of that channel to the downside, or if it breaks out to the upside, just like most channels we've seen since doing this over the last few years here, you get some exuberance, maybe some short-term momentum, and then typically a pullback, right? Let's see here. Imagine how far the market will be down if the BSR hits 0.03, and it hasn't done that in quite some time. I think it has done that before, John. I'm almost positive. And the likely suspects would be around 2008. And then I don't think something, well, maybe COVID. I don't think something as far as recently. John, do you know when the last time the BSR has hit 0.03? Just because it's gotten down to, the 0.2s and the MTI, the 0.6s now, it doesn't mean that the market is just going to blast off all of a sudden. No, we want to see the signals here. We're not seeing the signals, right? We're not seeing the signals. Was it too fooled with some of these, as you call them, dead cat bounces, whatever they may be? A lot of the enthusiasm was through the gaps, I noticed, and some of the trading. But yeah, let's see here. Let's get into it. Let's go to the news stories here, because I do want to talk about something, because it is Google too that might be causing some pain. Oh, there we go. Get rid of ACBES there. All right, here we go. First thing I want to talk about, inflation. That's where I see the real core what's causing some of this pressure, right, on the markets. Obviously the supply chains, the oil, the petroleum, the energy, the helium. All of a sudden we find out that Qatar makes all kinds of important things, right? Fertilizer, chemicals, but all that stuff just generally leads into inflation and the potential for higher inflation reports, right? You see Global Forecasting Group here sees U.S. inflation at 4.2% this year, much higher than the Fed estimate. In its periodic update of economic conditions, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development forecasts all items inflation in the U.S. to be at 4.2% for 2026. That is not good, right? With inflation pressures out there, doesn't look like a rate cut is on the table, right? But a rate hike could potentially be, right? Especially if this is drawn out. You know me, I don't like to get into politics, but we've all seen it, right? The Iranian state media or whoever's running it over there, they're not taking any kind of deal, right? They're button heads, right? They're button heads. They're going back and forth. So we'll see what's going on here. But the market not liking it, right? Because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a quick, couple week operation, right? Yeah, Ali G, I don't want to necessarily say that. But yeah, just keep this in mind. Inflation, right? The organization cautioned that the Fed and its global counterparts need to remain vigilant against inflation threats, right? How do you fight inflation? Well, the Fed's primary tool to do it, right, is raise interest rates, right? So we'll see what happens. But yes, the pressure is on with the market, and this is where I see the market getting spooked the most. Obviously, the supply shock, translating into higher inflation data. Not good for interest rates, right? All right, so here's another interesting story I was reading. Fannie Mae, yes, Fannie Mae, one of the culprits behind the 2008 housing crisis, you could say. Remember that, Fannie Mae? Yep, they're still around. Oh man, and look at this. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. Now, if you're a crypto lover, if you're a crypto enthusiast, if you're holding the Bitcoin, as Steve calls it, when it's trending lower, he calls it Bitcoin when it's trending higher, which is fine, which I get it. But look at this. Fannie Mae will accept crypto-backed mortgages via a new product by Better Home and Finance and Coinbase. That is interesting. That's where I really see the play here, is Coinbase benefiting from this, right? So to explain it, because it seemed a little bit interesting, the borrower would take out two loans. The second to fund the down payment on the first, right? The borrower needs to have a Coinbase account. And once the cryptocurrency is put up as collateral, it can be traded. So Fannie Mae is allowing you to put up cryptocurrency as collateral for the down payment on a house, right? Essentially, rate hike odds doubled today. Is that what, like Polymarket or Kalshi? And honestly, if you're going to be a bear, and if you're going to try to pinpoint the bottom, looking at some of these, more reliable predictive markets, the big ones, and look for the spikes, right? Look for the jumps, right? So right now, if rate hike odds they doubled today, that's not good for the bulls in the market, right? That's gonna be good for the bears in the market, right? So, I don't know, but if it were to flip side, if the rate hike were to decrease, by half instead of doubling, that would probably be good for the bulls, right? Fed's hands are tied, mortgage rates up, inflation, job losses, stagflation, company market complacency. 200 days all broken. Yeah, they're broken. They're broken, right? This is going to take a while to recover. Yep. I see that. I do see that. I do see that here. But yeah, Coinbase, it's feeling the pressure of the market today too. So even, and I've always said this about crypto. Trade the chart, first of all, when it comes to crypto. Trade the chart. If you start believing in everything crypto could potentially do, that could get you down a slippery slope here. But the one thing that I've always pointed out, it's not my opinion that matters. It's the world's opinion, right? The world has to adopt crypto. There are some good things I see about crypto, right? There's some bad things I see about crypto. But this I see as towards the adoption route on an institutional level, right? Think about it. If you are young and you're sitting on a bunch of Bitcoin, I guess you could just sell the Bitcoin, but now you could use it as collateral if you don't want to sell the Bitcoin, right? If you didn't want to sell your Bitcoin. It's not the first crypto-backed mortgage. Oh, that's interesting. But it is the first accepted by Fannie Mae, which is under government conservatorship. The offering allows home buyers to use their crypto assets as collateral. That's still crazy. That's still wild. Crypto is garbage. That was per CNBC. Interesting. Very interesting here. Crypto, I wouldn't say it's garbage because it's made a lot of people money. All right, next story here. Dell. Look at this. Dell is back on. And I don't care what this article says. The reason why Dell is back on is because SMCI fell off, right? With the new, I don't even know if they're allegations. I don't know the evidence on, but essentially they had some high level people within the company smuggle some NVIDIA chips, if you haven't heard already, to China. But you can see right here, Dell, breaking out of the stock. Stop following began a consolidation period from November through half of March, blah, 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 blah. NVIDIA, where's it at here? I was actually just going to see if it actually even mentioned SMCI. Doesn't look like it is going to. Interesting. Ryan, is it accurate that VectorVest has currently over 1 million subscribers? I don't know. I don't know our subscriber count, Bill. I have no clue, to be honest. Let's see here. But yeah, I was actually going to see if, now that I was thinking about it, I was wondering if SMCI was going to be here. But Dell is, as far as a hyperscale play, infrastructure play, and with everything with going SMCI, yeah, I see Dell as the play here. I still see Dell as the play. All right. And I know it's probably over. Well, actually, I'm not going to say it's overstretched right now because I have to see what it's done today with the market pulling back. Why were U.S. so naive to think they are U.S. company? Yeah, where are they? I don't know where they were based out of. That's a good question though. But here's something, because we did see that the petroleum stocks on the homepage, for the most part, green, right? I think there's like just a few red, but that's still where the opportunity seems to be. But look at this. Trump says Iran let 10 oil ships go through the strait. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. See here, made the gesture to show the U.S. the fact that we're real and solid and we're there. But yeah, this whole back and forth thing, not good. But yeah, if these ships start going through the Strait of Hormuz, and we start alleviating some of this supply constraint pressure, yes, that could definitely put a damper on the petroleum trade. It still seems to be intact. We'll take a look at the sector chart again. But if things start flowing, yeah, I could see the bears stepping in pretty quickly when it comes to that, because right now, it's all, or for the most part, momentum. But we'll see what the updates are here. We'll see what the updates are when it comes to the Iranian conflict. All right, this individual here, this is an analyst on Seeking Alpha. I do like getting some of their opinions. Why I'm not waiting any longer to double down on gold. Well, me personally, I'm not going to be in a rush to jump into it right now. But we'll take a look, see what the VectorVest software takes a look at it. But gold remains in a long-term bullish market. I do believe that. I think in the long term, yes, gold. We'll take a look at gold more closely. But if you've been watching me for a while now, for the most part, I've really just been doing it in regards to the GLD ETFs. Actually, bitch, it right behind me. You can't see it because it's right. Oh, if I scroll down, there it is. There's a trend line I've been using on there. We'll take a look at that trend line. As long as it's getting closer back to that trend line, because we were overextended there, right? I warned about that last time. Well, I used last time's example for this most recent time, just showing we're a little overextended, right? Can't just keep going up, up, and up. But here I see a solid bullish reversal signal of gold's price action, supported by a strong dip buying near the 50-week moving average. Buyers have returned with conviction. Interesting. Let's take a look here. Gold is down 3% today. So I don't know how much of a conviction that was. I see it gapped up here. I see the chart right behind me. It's definitely rolling over. Yeah, we'll jump into it in the software. Take a look at it here. Now, here's another stock. This one actually has got my attention. Now, the market, this ain't the time to be buying it. This stock is called Mobileye, the sleeping giant of the robo-taxi revolution. Now, we've talked about the robo-taxis, the autonomous driving, usually, with the usual suspects, right? But this one here, leveraging its advanced IQ, is what it's called, SoC, and AI-driven architectures for autonomous vehicles and robo-taxis. I've been saying it. Tesla, they're letting the competition come up, right? But this is where I was really, really impressed here. I'll stick with the Midas Touch for gold. Yeah, we're going to take a look at Midas Touch for gold. We actually take a look at it on the Huey. If you are a subscriber to VectorVest, especially if you're a subscriber, don't know this, the daily color guard reports, Monday's daily color guard report, we always do, we mention the Huey, which is the Huey's Gold Bugs Index, and we use the Midas Touch layout. I'll explain that a little bit more. Chris, thanks for mentioning that, though. Great point. Great point. Let's see here. Rising costs. But yeah, as far as this company, this is what I was getting to right here. $24.5 billion backlog. 40% growth in 2 years signals strong term demand. But near-term revenue growth is muted due to partner execution delays. So there's some risk with this position here. Rising costs, currency headwinds, integration of the 1 billion Minty Robotics acquisition, or 1 billion, not 1 million. Let's see here. PE forward, 27%. Revenue growth year over year, 14%. Short interest, 12% short interest. So there's, So it does have some short interest in there. Now, what I'm going to be more interested in here, I'm going to look at growth rate and earnings. I'm going to look at value, right? Because me already thinking, and I did look at it earlier when I put it in the watch list, but my first thought was it being autonomous driving, robo-taxi, that investors might already be paying premium. But my memory is just as sharp as it used to be. It's actually greatly undervalued, under some price pressure for sure, but the valuation might be there. So it's an interesting stock pick. You can see there's some good things and so there's some bad things here, right? So it's called Mobileye. But this is where I wanted to get to. MU, Western Digital, SanDisk fall. Why? Google's Turbo Quant is rattling memory stocks, right? Think about it. Micron's been channeling to the side. I mean, a lot of them are feeling the pressure right now just with the general market. But, I mean, this is an ever-changing, environment here, right? A lot of money. We're not even talking billions. We're talking trillions of dollars, right? So that's going to create innovation. So you see right here, all of it. This article came out yesterday. So when the market was doing all right yesterday, these actually fell, right? Remember I said that? I thought that was weird, right? That the market was rallying and Micron just not feeling the love at all. And I think it was Monday when the market was rallying and Micron's not feeling the love. But this thing here, a compression technology designed to reduce memory. I texted my cousin about this, cousin Eddie, who's in AI and all that stuff, about the Turbo Quant. I'll let you know if he's heard of it. But this is it right here. Designed to reduce memory, which just sounds bad for the memory stocks, right? Consumption in large language models, which is the AI revolution right now, right? And vector search engines, not VectorVest, just vector search engines. The algorithm addresses bottlenecks, right? Because there's a memory chip shortage, right? That's why those companies are in backlogs, why the companies are rocketing, right? I mean, this, we'll see how successful this is. I'm not a developer or designer of this stuff, so I don't know. But this is something that the market obviously is paying attention to here. According to Google's announcement, TurboQuant can process key value cache to 3 bits without requiring training or fine-tuning while maintaining model accuracy. Testing on open source models, including Gemma and Mistral, showed the technology achieved a 6 times reduction in key value memory size. 6 times? 6-fold? Yes, Bill, please humor me with a like. Hit me with that like. Hit me with a like today. Hit me with a like. We're going to go off your likes today. So make sure you hit the like buttons. That way you get as many stocks. I know a lot of you are trying to get the shopping list ready for when the blast off day occurs. I don't know when it's going to occur. Who knows when it's going to occur? It ain't today, though. It ain't today. I tell you that much. Unless the market just rips from here till 4 o'clock. It ain't today. And even if it rips, it probably still ain't going to be today. That's right. It's already 2:30. Yeah. It ain't going to be today here. The algorithm also demonstrated up to 8 times performance increase. So you're having 6 times reduction in key value memory size. So a huge reduction in memory size. And it demonstrated more performance, 8 times performance increase over unquantized keys. Okay, this is on the H100 right here, right? It's all about NVIDIA, right? It's all about NVIDIA. But yeah, I mean, Google's a powerhouse stock. I mean, they've got their hands in so much different stuff here. I really like them. Is today to buy them? No. Right? You can look at this here. Trending stocks, look at all the tech stocks. They're all down today. Wait, you can't see it's behind my head. There you go. All right, let's get back into the software here. But yeah, I see this, maybe do a little more research on it. I'm going to do a little more research on it as well. We'll probably talk about it here in another live stream soon. But I would keep this and other, there's probably other things out there, because think how much money is just pouring into these AI data centers, right? Which is going to drive innovation. So one of the reasons why I think NVIDIA is kind of just stalled out right now, right? This is a temporary drop. It only means designers will buy more and more memory. There is never enough. Yeah, no, there's huge backlogs on that. There's huge backlogs. Google itself collapsed. What do you mean it collapsed? Like it's down today? Yeah, they're all down today, unless you're Petroleum. Unless you're Petroleum, right? Let's see here. NASDAQ down. It is 2% now. 2.1%. VectorVest composite down 1.32%. Again, be defensive. Have stops on your positions. If you do not have a stop on your position, right? Put one on there. You got to put some kind of line in the sand. If it's below our stop price, if it already has a sell rating, one simple thing you can do is just put a stop at the prior swing low, right? Because if it breaks that swing low, then you're taking another leg lower, right? And how many legs you got left in you? Depends on the stock. Depends how many legs you're already down, right? So don't be holding all these down here. All right, let's get to these stocks here real quick. News. We got quite a few stocks here for you today. Now, the ones in green are your petroleum stocks. That just makes it easier. You can see. That's just the way it works. I'm pretty sure. Oh, the one oil stock not doing well today. Imperial Oil. Imperial Oil here. IMO. As far as the stocks on the recommendations, there's no holds. Either you're working or you're not working. And right now, Petroleum, Dell with the super micro thing. It's been killing it lately. It's down today. Looks like the enthusiasm, it's set in that the market's down. So it's going to be down today. But look, Petroleum up. And then as soon as we leave the petroleum stocks, it's all red. Even gold. You're not getting no safe haven in gold right now. So that person, Seeking Alpha is talking about they're not waiting anymore to buy gold stocks. I don't know about all that. I want to be buying today. Not in a rush. And VectorVest is not going to advocate buying any stocks today, right? So let's, before we get into the gold, I was looking at roadblocks here. See here. Let me switch this. I gotta switch my default layout. Midas touch. There's so many. There we go. Midas touch. Huey. So this is how we analyze gold on Mondays for the daily color guard report. So I figure I would bring that out here. So as far as gold, this is the trend. Right. If you're new to VectorVest, if you're new to this is a graph layout option called Midas Touch. And we use the Huey as the demonstration here, the Gold Bugs Index. Now, the green and red line up top, they're moving averages of our stop price, right? That's where we get our sell rating, STOP. The 13-week moving average, we adjust for the company's fundamentals. Well, we're even going to smooth that out even further. We're going to take a 10-day and a 65-day moving average of that. Gives us a big sense of the trend. And just look at the gold right here. You can see. Look at this. Crossed below a little bit here, but they came back up, had a nice run. It's been on a run for a while now. If I scroll back some more. Look at that. Nice trend here, too. If I do my date line. So that was that uptrend. Right? And that really captures the big ones. Now, as far as below, and I'll keep this elementary because I wasn't really expecting to do a Huey Gold Bugs lesson today. Down below on the Midas Touch, we take a 5-day and 40-day, well, there's a 10-day, but we're going to do a 5-day and 40-day moving average of RT. And this gives you a sense of trigger, right? So we got some crossovers here. If we use Dateline, let's zoom in here. Right, like, so this would be a trigger here, right? So you'd have uptrend, and then here you'd have a trigger. You had a little of a pullback, right? And then just before the breakout, because that looks about even to the prior swing high or pretty close to it, we had our positive crossover here showing the bullish momentum continuing. But you can see here as of late, I mean, look at the drop here in the 5-day. I mean, let me zoom in a little bit more. You can see that. Look at the 5-day. Just diverging further and further away from the 40-day moving average of RT relative timing. Gold is a better bet than Tom Brady coming back. I don't know how to take that. I don't know how you take that. Talk about coming back to football, or talk about just come back in the fourth quarter. Now, as far as the Huey, though, this is going to be my little bit of a warning, but look at the trend here. Look at the stop price. The 10-day converging closer and closer to the 65-day moving average of our stop price. So if we get a crossover here where the 10-day crosses below 65, then clearly, that's going to define, a bearish trend picking up, and not just a short-term price trend, but more of a longer trend here, right? The RT, that's already occurred. So yes, and look, there's a sell rating. I just noticed that on the Huey. There's a sell rating there. We talked about that last week, and then the earlier this week, because as we just went over gold stocks, I had noticed like a lot of the RTs were crossing below 1. A lot of the stocks were transitioning, and these are gold stocks, from buys to holds, and some of them even to some sells. Then I think Orla was the one. I think it was a sell. Let's see. Let's just add Orla. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that was the one. Yep. I think that was earlier this week. We talked about that. So yeah, gold, get defensive. That's not the safe haven right now. The safe haven, I'm going to switch this over to petroleum, and then we'll get back to those stocks. See here, sector, petroleum. Look at that. There we go. There we go. We might even get a breakout depending on what comes out of the Middle East. You might try to get a little breakout out of that. It's still intact. I mean, it's still intact. And you can see in regards to the Midas Touch layout, everything looks good there. And just going back to Midas Touch, you can see the trend really picking up here. And I mean, even here was not that much of a dip below. But as far as the most recent trigger, right at the beginning of the channel here. All right, let's get into it. Joey, how many stocks, how many likes do we have? How many likes do we have here? Y'all better be hitting that like button. We're going to get through these stocks here, and then I'm going to get to your stocks. But you better hit them, so I'm going to stick to the likes today. What a perfect double top on Microsoft. We'll take a look at that one. Let's graph these real quick. So here's petroleum. Let's just use my custom layout here. I got the value. I've got our stop price. That's the blue shaded in area here. Down below, I've got RT relative timing, and I've got earnings per share as well. Over here on the right, next to my head, I do have our growth rate and earnings. Looking at this stock, this is phenomenal stock here. It's petroleum. Obviously, it's looking good. But what I like about this one, because petroleum, not as pretty as the gold and silver mining stocks were, right? Because you could throw a dart at those stocks, and most likely you're getting undervalued, great forecasted earnings. But petroleum, you got to look under the hood a little bit more. But this one, I mean, values rising, undervalued, earnings per share rising, growth rate 32%. So let's scroll down to the next one. This one looks good too. MPC. chasing value to the upside. Nice, strong buy rating. Look at the buy rating. It's been here since the stock was $187. Now the stock hitting a 6-month high, approaching 248. Earnings per share rising, growth rate 18% here. Valero, phenomenal stock as well. Now getting a little bit stretched or a little overvalued per se. Valuation at 243. We're trading at 248. It's a fairly valued, but we say within about 10% is fairly valued. So it still looks good. Earnings per share is rising, growth rate 19%. Dell just looks a little overextended, and I'm just curious here. This might be a strong pullback if we're not careful. No. Let's go back to a year here. Well, this looks like it could be a little bit of a cuppy. I'd like to see if we can find some support here. If we do get a pullback, I'd look for some support right here. So we got a breakout, but we never got any kind of a retest of that breakout. So if you feel like you missed out on Dell, or if you want to look for some potential bottom fishing in the near future, Dell could be it. But I would look closer to this 166 level, see if we get a pivot off of there, because we never got a retest. So, unless the market starts ripping to the upside, if the market still continues to trend lower, it might take Dell right to this. Again, that's around 166 on Dell. Earnings per share is rising, growth rate 18% here. Nice looking stock, especially with everything going on with SMCI. Looks good here. Here's Repsol. This is another petroleum company, undervalued, earnings per share rising, growth rate and earnings 15%. Nice. So I want to give you the good petroleums, because if you got access to the software and if you've been looking at them, you'll notice a lot of them are overvalued. Growth rate or GRT might be negative. EPS could be all over the place, but try to put the good ones in the watch list here. Targa, okay, there's another petroleum one. So this one getting a little bit stretched on its valuation here, but still, had some value opportunities. Earnings per share is rising, growth rate 19%, double digits, phenomenal. Here is Kinross Gold. Kinross Gold, I've got a level of support here. It kind of wants to hold it, but it's gapping back down. We got a sell rating here, and especially after what we just saw on the Huey, it's hard to get enthusiastic when it comes to gold right now. But yeah, RT, it's been below 1 for quite some time now. I mean, it was in the 30s when RT crossed below 1. Now it's at 28, 27. If you got sell ratings, be defensive if you got it. Here's Imperial Oil. Now, this is something that you get more in like the petroleum stocks in general. Overvalued, so it's clearly momentum play. Earnings per share is falling. Growth rate -6, right? So I put this one here just as kind of a visual to show you. So this one, if you are in it, I'd stick, more to the technicals, right? Because it's not a value play. It's not an earnings play. Here's Google. Google, I'm really hoping it doesn't break through my consolidation zone. If you don't own Google, won't necessarily be in a rush to buy it. Oh, look at this. Sell rating on Google today. Man, not a good day to be a bull. That's for sure. Sell rating on Google today. But I mean, look at earnings per shares rocking to the upside. Growth rate 18%. Undervalued. We'll see what the market comes of it here. But if we break this, I mean, the next real support, it's going to be closer to this level here. And that'll bring you down to 258. But interesting. Here's ASM. So yeah, there's another one I was telling you that, again, we started seeing the gold stocks drop below the 20, right? Then we started, actually this one here, the RT dropped below first. You see that? Look at that. Or no, it was right around the same time. You see RT's starting to cross below 1. You see the sell rating start to come in frequently, right? So gold, not going to be the safe haven, it seems, due to the whole Iranian crisis here. Google screwed, MU, but also got screwed. right? They're all just screwing each other, right? But look at that, down day to day. So again, not the day to be bottom fishing. Not the day to be bottom fishing, right? Here's Fannie Mae. I wouldn't be bottom fishing this stock either way, even if it was green all over the place, right? This does not look good. Value, it's showing my least favorite chart pattern, right? And if you've watched my videos, value declining, price declining is not what I want to see. Even if it's undervalued, I don't like to see that, right? How do I know it's a good deal when value keeps declining? I want to see undervalued and both rising. Earnings per shares rising, growth rate 28%. It's just a trend. It's hard to get behind it. And now they're trying to let crypto. So it looks like it hit the line, right? CGLD, we got our initial enthusiasm. Here's your pivot play, right? You know me, I love a good pivot off a trend line. I've done it so many times. I think NVIDIA's put this morning was, well, it was breaking a trend line. That's why I did the NVIDIA put this morning. All right, but yeah, GLD here. Again, we had some enthusiasm, nice little pivot pop. But look, we gapped right back down, right back on it here. In general, what I've been saying, you get a little overextended from this line here. Be careful, but this is the trend line I've been looking at for quite some time. How far back does this thing go? I haven't looked at it in a while. This far back. There it is, right there. So this is where the selling pressure came in, selling pressure, right? But this last time is where the buying pressure came in. So I'm just curious to see how this is going to work. Not going to lie. If it breaks a little bit, I got a little support zone here. So yeah, I think gold might be showing some opportunities because I'm going to be bullish on gold in the long run. But I think some opportunities might, I wouldn't jump in them today, but I think they might be on the horizon. All right, here's Mobileye. Oh, I know. I brought you ugly, poopy stock today. I know it. Look at that thing. Ooh, if I go back, it's not going to look any better. It's not going to look any better. Right? You see it's just way overvalued. But now look at it. It's interesting. Value is declining. Price is declining. New low today. Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter, that partnership, too much. Growth rate and earnings, look at this, is ticking up here. You see, this is what I say. It's a little bit more of a turnaround candidate because look at the earnings per share was negative, right? Negative. Growth rate earnings, negative. Now they're positive. The stock was overvalued. Now it's greatly undervalued. But the trend is not there. The trend is not there. Again, it was from the news stories, from a news story. They got we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's close out of this. Joey, how many likes do we got here? Let's see. There we go. All right. Today we've got 6 stocks for you. 6 stocks. So the first 6 stocks coming across that comment section, those are the 6 we are going to go over. So better make them good. 1 stock per person. 1 stock per person. We got 6 stocks today. Who's going to be the quickest? I'm just curious what type of stocks y'all are going to put in here. Are we going to put in petroleum stocks? Are we going to try to bottom fish some tech? Interesting. BKSY. Black Sky Technology. BT. I actually like these interesting stocks. AXIT. We don't have that one. Viav. I don't know what ERX is. Oh, double leverage bull. What's KORU? I'm interested in those ETFs. We'll add those 2. All right, let's do it here. And actually, I want to take a look at Microsoft. I'm curious about that one. Yeah. Let's see here. Wow, down 15%. RT at 0.31. Ooh, God. All right, let's see here. Let's graph them. I'm curious now. All right, first up, we've got ERX. This is double leveraged. Let's see. I'm going to use Star Search for this. Boop, boop, boop. We got Star Search working nicely for this one. I like this. DPO strength is increasing. I'll be honest, it's a little overextended from the 20 for my liking. I don't know about jumping into it, but if you're in it, I mean, it looks good. RT's above 1, still increasing. RT at 1.94 now. 3-month high on RT. Here is VIAV. Just diverging further away from our valuation here. Value dropping, price action on the rise. We did get a retest here. RT's, I do like RT, the swing low is higher than this prior swing low. Growth rate 23%. Under the hood, not bad. Just a little overvalued, but with this momentum we've seen as of late, that's where the valuation concerns coming into play here. Because valuation was rising quite a bit, and if it kept that trajectory, that would have been nice, but it kind of just went stagnant a little bit to the downside here as of recent. So keep that in mind. Here is next. This is a petroleum company. Why does this look like a massive cup and handle? We just got to get up this other side here in the making potentially. But this is what I was telling you. These petroleum stocks, way overvalued. Earnings per share forecasted falling. Growth rate in earnings, -9%. These are the type of petroleum stocks you get quite a bit here. So just be careful of this. If I scroll back some more and look at the plummets here with some of this. There's a lot of volatility here. I like some of those other names better. Here is Drone Shield. I like the momentum here at Drone Shield. I mean, I can see a nice little trend line here. Boom, 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 right there. As long as it stays above this trend line, hey, I'm here for it. Our stop price kind of moving up almost in conjunction with it as of recently here. But both of them giving you a little bit of wiggle room right now. Value is increasing. Earnings per share is increasing. Growth rate and earnings, look at that, 35% here. It's a software security company. Phenomenal looking stock. This I like this one. Now the market's down. So I'm not going to say get into it now. But here's Microsoft. This is what I don't like about Microsoft. I had a support zone here. I tried to catch it, but it has completely rolled over here. Rejection from the 20-day EMA recently. If I zoom in here, there's that rejection right there. The low coming in at 366 now. Man, maybe I should have bought the put on this one instead of NVIDIA. But what I like, have you guys tried the every other day expirations? I don't know how many frequent option traders I've got in the room, but like Microsoft and NVIDIA, they've got them now on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. AMD did not. I checked because like the Qs, they have them every day. But yeah, so now they've got every other day expirations. It looks like they usually go out for about a week or two, and then it goes back into their normal expiration schedule. But yeah, Microsoft. All right, so if it broke that area, and now, well, we've got a big gap right here. I didn't even think about that. How dumb of me. Why would we not want to come down and fill this gap right here? Which is right at where we're at now. 367. We're at 366. Interesting. But yeah, if something doesn't happen soon with Microsoft, let's see here. Oh, and that gap fill is right at this prior swing high too. Interesting. This might be the closer to the level, but again, you want the sales of the market behind you. But the only thing I would say would be concerning here is if I were to see the valuation of Microsoft continue to plummet, right? Because it was trading at a premium, now it's undervalued. But if that is your premise of getting into Microsoft, it's because now it's undervalued, right? Well, you want to make sure value doesn't keep falling, right? So you could lose 100% of your money 3 times a week. What do you mean by that, John? Yeah, well, if you hold them till it's worthless, I guess you could do that. Tomorrow may see a return of the primary wave up. But again, John, that also comes in handy for sellers. If you're the holder of, say, NVIDIA or Microsoft, right? You could just sell, options against this. And now you can do that more frequently, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so it's Microsoft. Let's see here. Let's go back to 6 month. This stock here, a lot of momentum. I like the lower left, upper right nature of the stock, just overvalued. Earnings per share starting to roll over here in general. Just got into positive territory. I would like for it to stay there. Growth rate, 3% here. 3%. Interesting. Here's BKSY. Yeah, I'm still seeing this as a resistance here. The stock just kind of channeling to the side, pretty range bound. Earnings per share is negative. Stock is overvalued. Growth rate earnings is 10%. It's the only positive item there. If I go back to a year, we'll see. I really just wanted to hold that 2350 level. If we can hold 2350, we got to look for the breakout here. And that breakout's going to occur around just shy of $30. Just shy of $30. Here is Cleveland Cliffs. Look at the valuation starting to jump here. Earnings per share not looking good. Growth rate is looking good. Ooh, and look at that. Look at the growth rate in earnings. Went from -9 now to 19%. Yeah, price pressure is on with this position. You got some rejection here. Last time I got close to the 20-day EMA. But this could be a potential value play in the future. If you're looking for a steel company, I do like that value jumping up. Here is Korea bullish. Man, this thing was over $600 now at 281. RT relative timing dampening further and further. What I start to see here really is just looks like a descending channel, right? Kind of looks. Make that a little wider. It's kind of what I'm seeing here, right? So keep that in mind. All right. Whew. Got through those stocks. It's that time. It's 3 o'clock, everybody. Whew. All right. Keep an eye out. Yeah, Microsoft. Wolf is right on Microsoft. It's not working out too well there for them. The pressure is on with the market. Be defensive. Don't be reckless. Heed the advice of the color guard, right? Right now, VectorVest is not advocating buying any stocks at this time. I mean, look at this. VectorVest composite down over 1%. NASDAQ closer to 2%, 1.98%. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I will see you next week. Enjoy your week.